skill, and talent can be developed through hard work, good strategies, persistence, dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
We are actually pre-recording this hot seat episode as you're currently on your honeymoon.
Well, I'm not currently on my honeymoon, but I will be on my honeymoon. And in fairness, it's a mini moon. We're going away without the children. So it's only a 6 days.
That is all you need to say. Hallelujah to that. A kid-free holiday.
Yeah, I think that's the first time. But we are going to go on a family honeymoon. All four of us. Probably the December holidays. We're just finalizing where we're going to go, and the kids are excited, and they're kind of making their decision which country we're going to head to, and hopefully they pick somewhere warm because I am getting a bit fed up with this weather. I don't know about you, but it's it's definitely still winter, not spring.
Yes, I agree and agree. I'm quite over the rain. However, I know that there's a lot more still coming our way. So yes, it will be wet, but I hope you are having an amazing time. The future Christian and the future Lucy Lavolsi are having an amazing time on your mini moon, kid-free, just enjoying each other's company after a spectacular wedding. So I could just like picture all of that. All right.
By the way, we should let everyone know that I was still planning to do this live from our mini moon destination. However, I was advised that if I did any work during our mini moon, the likelihood of an annulment or a divorce was going to be very high. So, seeing that I have waited, almost 9 years to marry Lucy, I'm putting her first. So
I absolutely agree with that. Lucy has 1000% right to say that. And we all know how dedicated you are to your clients, to your team, and to your fans and your followers who we're here talking to today. So thank you for your dedication, but you do deserve to have some time off and switch off work mode every now and again.
Yeah, I can't say it's ever worked though, so that's probably why. But I do understand that Lucy puts up with a lot, and when she does put her foot down, I say yes, honey, whatever you need on this one, I'll do it.
Absolutely, the best answer you can give.
It's the only answer. Trust me, the only answer.
Okay, let's get into this. Today, we are actually talking all about business pivots and what that means. So we put out a poll on LinkedIn to ask people how they felt about business pivots and whether they've done this before, whether they're comfortable with it. So I'd love you to deep dive into the 3 questions that I have today. I've got 2 minutes on the clock. And your first question is, what is your definition of a pivot inside of business?
Okay, look, it's not a difficult question because we obviously being a strategist and a strategic thinker, pivots is just another form of strategic thinking or a strategy that you deploy, right? So to answer your question, a pivot is essentially when you change any one aspect of your core product or service. Okay, that's its true meaning in its word. And the business might pivot to better meet customer demands, or it might even shift its target audience to boost sales. It may even be a combination of both, Simone. So realistically, that's the definition of a business pivot. However, pivots can also be smaller. They don't actually necessarily always have to be a shift in your core product or your target audience. So either a product or service change. And that's where I kind of apply the strategic thinking to that. Sometimes the subtlest pivots make the very best transformations. So hopefully that answers your question, but I think I did it in like a minute.
Yeah, you did. You still have 40 seconds on the clock.
Well, maybe we jump to another question because technically I'm on honeymoon.
Keep it nice and quick. Hey, I feel like this is a word that's thrown out so much now. We all hear about the COVID pivot. We pivoted online. And that's why I was really interested to hear what the true definition was from a strategist point of view, because I feel like we're overusing that term now as well.
Oh, it's there are so many terms that are overused. And I think that's why you got to go right back to the basics. And any term doesn't fit your strategy. It's that simple, right? And if you haven't got a strategy, then stop what you're doing and do some strategic thinking. And people, I think we covered it in one of the hot seats. Strategic thinking is essentially the thinking behind the plan, right? So, when I see people saying, "Oh, I need to write a business plan," okay, well, what strategic thinking methodologies are you applying to creating your plan? And they go, "Oh, I'm just writing the standard business plan questions that, I got on the business.gov.au site." I'm like, right. Oh, you mean the template that every single other person is using? Right. Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. So
I'm laughing because I've done that template back in the day too. That's where you get told to start.
I always say to people, success and failure leave clues, but yet we don't learn from it. Why is it that, 60 to 80% of businesses fail in the first 3 years? Most of them don't have a plan, okay? Most don't have goals. Most, in fact, many of them have never done any form of strategic thinking, right? And definitely most of them have not embarked on a lean canvas, right? Or a business model canvas, which is a creative thinking, design thinking methodology, right? So it's one tool, and this is why I think in last week's recording we talked about I've just had a brain fade. We talk about the difference between a business coach and a business advisor, right? A lot of business coaches will write plans. A lot of business advisors will write strategic plans, right? Some people will say that, those differences are very subtle, but ultimately they're not. So much for answering that question in 1 minute and then going on a 3 minute tangent.
It was well worth it though.
I'm on my mini moon, and see, I'd be normally wearing my wedding ring by now, but it's not on here yet because the wedding hasn't happened because this is the recording.
That's right. All right. Question 2. How can you identify when you need to pivot your business?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a tough question because obviously it depends on the circumstances. It also depends on your initial strategic plan. Okay, we adopt a very rigid strategic thinking plan that is made up of 7 to 9 columns, so you can stay on task pretty easily. Your target market, your core. You've got all your metrics in place, all your KPIs, you've got your brand promises. I can go on and on and on. We even have our critical numbers, which is a Vern Harnish philosophy. So for us and our clients, it's pretty easy to determine when you need to pivot. Because if all of a sudden everything isn't in alignment, our planning is in alignment, our thinking is in alignment, but it's not working for whatever reason, then we know we can just pull a lever and rotate ever so slightly. And that's what I was referring to. Pivots don't have to be monumental. Pivots can be small dials. You think of music producers. They don't make enormous shifts on that dial. They're making, more often than not, small ones. Now, how do I know this? Because I've got friends that are music producers, right? And so they, when I've sat in the studio with them, even when we're in the process of lining up to record the audio book, and because everyone keeps asking me, and 2 years later, I might find the time to do it. But the reality of it is, there's small little movements. So if you've got a very good baseline plan, you know when to pivot. Now, the other reason to pivot is when there is a global pandemic. Okay. Everyone knows we experienced one of those, right? So that was when we saw a lot of people pivoting, and they use the word pivot, from bricks and mortar businesses to online, right? That pivot is digitization. Pivoting is also really important when technology can actually assist you. Don't be foolish enough to go, everything is working today. Look at what the new technologies are that are available to you and see if you can integrate them. And integration can be a pivot for some people, because if you integrate and then find, hey, that is working better, well, then that's your shift, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, they're small pivots, but generally speaking, a real pivot in its context is when you change an element of your core product and service offering. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. I was really hoping that you were going to explain the difference of that it didn't have to be some sort of catastrophic event to pivot, which I think most people would just understand the main concept of, given what we've been through the last 2 years, 3 years now.
Look, Simone, there's really good examples of companies who have been incredibly successful, who've then pivoted and to become even more successful. So pivots aren't just when you were in things aren't working. It might be the evolution that forces you to pivot. I'm trying to think of some famous examples. None are coming to my mind right now, but maybe if we have some show notes, or we'll do another segment of it, I'll come back. I've got some examples that I use in workshops, but I'm just going to look if I've got anything floating around that's going to trigger my thought. No.
I think, just experiencing what we went through on the Momentum Weekend and the lean canvas, strategic thinking that we went through, how you really identify the opportunities. So it's not always about your weaknesses that are bringing a pivot to the forefront, but what are the opportunities where the pivot can really excel your business instead of just getting you out of the mess, right?
Well, now careful, because now you're giving away my trade secrets, right? Like, you never told me that this was about giving up all of the IP, right? I mean, look, it's no secret. I spend 95% of my time with people working on opportunity creation as opposed to problem solving, and I do have, if I can say so humbly, a gift for identifying opportunities within other people's businesses. And that's because I have a helicopter view of everything all the time. And that's the blessed luxury that I've had, with the experiences that I've had in life. So it's not something that, people are just born with. It's come at a cost. It's come from experience. And now to be able to, help our customers, it just, it really does inspire me, and it's really nice when they're inspired. But little do they know that I go home and I'm further inspired. I mean, look, I haven't had a day off or anything for weeks. I think it's been months actually. But it's no, since Bali, since being in.
Well, you even live streamed in from Bali, so
yes,
didn't really have the time off there either.
Well, no. In fairness, I had 3 days I still worked in between beach clubs and tequila shots and smoking cigars with my boys. It was a lot of fun. It was really great. The last few days where we pretty much did nothing other than sit by the pool and drink margaritas. It was great. Now, if anyone's getting jealous, you should be. And actually, a really big shout out to the Indigo in Seminyak. They were awesome, and all the Balinese people. Everywhere we went, just the gratefulness that they demonstrated to us for being there and respecting them and supporting their economy. But you walk away and you're like, "Hey, thank you," and it was spectacular. And I'm hoping my children choose Bali, and we're going to go back to that hotel for at least 3 days. It was magnificent.
Persuasive conversations so you can plant the seed of Bali. So then when you
don't worry.
they go
Simone,
right.
you know me very well as a strategist. I have been planting the seeds for, I'm pretty sure since the day I returned. And then when I told them, hey, guys, you guys can choose where we're going. What do you think the first words that came out of both Leonardo and Lemon? Bali, pa. And I'm like, Lucy, what do you think? And she just looked at me and she's like, why didn't you just book it? Like, you pretty much, oh no. And I showed them all the cool things that they can do. So yes, and I haven't showed them anything else. So I'm putting it out there. They are getting to make the choice, but I'm pretty sure that they seeded it, and I've been watering it. So I'm just waiting for the sprout, and then we're in. It's done.
That's so cool. All right, let's get this done. Our last question. What is one tip, one tip that you could share with business owners that have an idea to pivot, but they're unsure if this is the right move to make?
I can't answer that question. No, it's just there's too many variables, right? But but what I do say to you is, if your pivot is an opportunity, then join our Evolve program. Absolutely, because then I can dive deeply in it. I can understand it, and I can help you live a better life or make more money, right? So that's pretty simple. That's why it's a question, and you probably rarely hear me say that, but I have a no bullshit approach, so I'm going to call it out. I can't answer that question. There's no, and anyone says they can answer it, then they're bullshit, because there's just way too many variables.
It's not all ideas are good ideas, right?
Yeah,
so how do we navigate what we should go forth and take an opportunity on, and what we should just go, you know what, that's never going to work.
What I would say is make sure that you've got a really good foundational strategic plan, and then review that. So if you have one, go back and review that, and then see how the core product or service needs to change, and why it needs to change, and also the effects that it's going to have on your existing customers. If you're a startup and you're looking to pivot, is the pivot because the market is demanding it? Like I always say to people that come to me, I get about 10 startup proposals a week, like pitches. And I'm at a point, I just don't read any of them anymore. I say to people, look, you can't, I'm not, my angel investment portfolio is now full. We've got one exit happening at the moment to a VC, which is awesome. I've got another couple of things happening. But I'm not looking at any more of that area, simply because I'm really enjoying growing elephants. Companies that have been well established for 20 years, family run businesses with no succession plans. And I'm getting a real kick out of that. And also, they are so much easier, right? But, to just finish off, I think have a really good model, have a good foundation, but also understand what it is your customers need. So if you're really going to go and say to yourself, oh, I really want to make this pivot, how do I know if it's the right move? Well, how are your customers going to react to that move? Does that make sense? I mean, if we had more time, we could actually use you and your side hustle as a really good demonstration of some very critical pivots. And maybe we'll do that with your permission, because, your little business is now no longer a little business. It's almost double the size. It took you 2 years to get to one size. With me and you working on it together, we've doubled it, and you've done a lot of work to do that. You made instrumental little shifts to get the job done. But we don't have time. I've got to go to a concert. I've got to go to my son's year 2 concert. I can't wait to see the rock star out on stage doing his thing. And all of his mates.
The real strong point is to critically think about what you're doing before you do it. Don't go just chasing the shiny ideas of thinking, oh, this is a pivot. Everyone's going into online. That is one of the mistakes I made of going, yep, fitness, everyone's going online. I'll pivot online. It didn't even suit my core. Like it didn't feel right. So
where are all your customers coming from at the moment? Right. So for another day, for another moment, but that's why I said it. I reviewed Simone's business and practices and planning and just said, nah, you need to do this. And it's the complete opposite to what everybody else would be doing. And honestly, that I said it earlier, that's my gift. I generally do things that are the opposite of other people. It pisses some people off, and that's all good. I don't have to be liked by everybody. I mean, it sure as hell would help, but I don't need to be. And I do value people's opinion, whether they're positive or negative. But at the end of the day, because that's how we learn. But I think everybody's getting caught up in these new ways of doing things and forgetting that there is, 2,000 years of history, right? Success and failure that we can go back to and reactivate. And I truly believe that's the moonshot. That's the next point. And, I'm really excited by that, as you can tell. I mean, I'm really excited by where the next 3 or 4 years are going to be, not for just my business, but the hundreds of people that are in our programs, my one-on-one clients, my boards that I chair as an independent chairman. I sit there and my clients look at me and they're like, I've never seen someone who's so happy all the time. And I'm like, hey, look at the plan we've got. Look at the execution. And I mean, that's what good strategic thinking does. It gives you clarity. It gives you foundations to then allow you to take advantage of the opportunities when they come. And that's the pivot, right? Whereas if you don't have that in place, it's very hard. And, living in a constant COVID mental fog is gross. Right? So anyway, I got to run. I'm going to be late.
Well, Christian, thank you so much for your time. Go and enjoy.
I'm going back to my honeymoon.
Yes, go back to your honeymoon. Go and enjoy Leonardo's concert. We are bringing on Shane Staker to have a quick chat with us about his journey into Evolve and his business. So we can't wait to have a little chat to Shane and hear all about how he's going.
Shane's a rock star. He's such a good dude. Ask him about his out of work activities, like his years of being a DJ. Right?
Oh,
but,
I didn't know that story.
Didn't you know that?
No.
At the dinner, he and I were talking about it, and I was like, "What the?" So he's really dedicated, very focused, and a genuinely good bloke, and that's something really exciting to be able to help him. He's making some very cool shifts at the moment, and he embraces them, and and that's the luxury. Like he said to me, it's the luxury I've got you. Like I can come to you and Simone, and you guys just go bang, and and it just makes sense. And it's like, yeah, but dude, it's really you. We're just giving you, that little nudge, that extra edge, and that clarity that you need just to make that decision yours. So anyway, thank you, everyone. I really do value people that invest their time in listening to Simone and I on these hot seats. And Simone, thank you for always being a wonderful host and asking me some very interesting questions. So I'm signing out.
See it after all, right? It can't be too easy for you.
No, that's right.
But enjoy, and we will be back live with everyone next week. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. Shane, we are now here live. We just watched a pre-recorded video of Christian and I chatting last week. He is in his honeymoon down in Victoria. So thank you very much for holding in there. Even in a pre-recorded video, I can't get him to stay to time. So thank you for your time, Shane, hanging in there in the background while Christian was on a bit of a tangent.
No, that's okay. Thank you very much for inviting me along. And it's good to see that he's a man of his word. He told us that he was going to be working through his honeymoon. So I'm glad that he's done that. And I've taken a bit of inspiration, and I'm outside today because I thought he can't be enjoying a honeymoon in the sun and us be inside.
That's fantastic. Now, Shane, you are a fashion designer and you have a business called Staker Sartorial. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I do. That is correct. So the business launched probably 18 months ago, just over 18 months ago now. I started it. I had some crazy thought, and I thought it'd be a good idea to start it in the middle of a global pandemic. But it's the pandemic actually created an opportunity and for me to be able to launch the business the way I wanted to. For the last few years, it's been a bit of a side hustle, and one of those things that I was going to get to. I'm going to work on. But I was working full time in a corporate career and doing other things as well, as Christian let slip earlier. And
DJ Shane, tell me what your DJ name was. I have to know more about this.
we can definitely have a conversation about that. And I just the industry I used to work in was travel, and I just had this design business as a little bit of a side hustle and a passion project because I have studied fashion design. And when the industry I was working in got absolutely destroyed by the pandemic, it was the real sort of, kick in the pants or light bulb moment I needed to go, you know what? It's time now to take control. And I've always wanted to do something with this business. So let's do it. So I started, 18 to 20 months ago. And as you said, I am a fashion designer. A little bit of a twist on that, though, because I do menswear and the formal side of menswear. However, part of the ethos of the business is not just to design something that looks pretty and then mass produce a whole heap of it and people can buy them. Everything is completely custom made because the design aspect is one part of it, and then there is the fit part of it. So everything is individually designed and then completely custom made, which is a little bit different and a little bit of a twist on, I suppose, a traditional fashion designer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea and something, we just had Christian's wedding on the weekend and there was a few guests there that actually had the same outfits on. And as a woman, that's pretty, it's that moment where your heart sort of sinks and drops and just going, oh, great, who wore it better? But with something that's custom designed to you, you never have to worry about being in exactly the same suit as someone else, which is pretty cool.
And you think that, and women definitely do have it tough and maybe think about it a little bit more, but guys certainly do as well. And as a guy, and growing up, and this has all been a lot of personal experience for me as well, but as a guy, we're a lot more limited to the choices we've got. So, how does a navy suit on me look different to a navy suit on someone else when it's probably come from one of the 3 or 4 places that we can buy suits from? So, there is definitely that aspect to it as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, Shane, I have some questions for you. I'm putting you on the timer as well because I know that we love a chat as well and we do get carried away with our conversation. So you have 2 minutes on the clock. And my first question for you is why Evolve? Why did you join Evolve?
So I joined Evolve because I got introduced to Christian through a local chamber of commerce here in South Australia called Business SA. And I just had this vibe about Christian when I first met him that I just picked up on at this event. And you just, when you know, and you have this gut feeling. And I just went up to him straight away afterwards and just said, you're my guy. You're going to help me understand what I don't know. Because the one thing I do know is that I don't know what I don't know. And I'm 18 months into my business and I've got it to a certain point from zero, which is good. And, I know I needed help taking that next step. So as soon as I met Christian, I was like, this is my guy. He's going to help me. I've got a good vibe. So it was just through meeting him and yourself and explaining what the program is all about and how it works that made me make the decision.
I love that. That was a minute. That was fantastic.
And I didn't even rehearse this.
Oh, so good. And I think it's very true. We are very intuitive people. And when you feel like you've connected with the right people, that's when you think, it's giving me confidence. It's giving me that boost that I can succeed in my business and dream big and work out what the future is for that. All right. So my next question for you is, what have you benefited most from within Evolve?
This one's probably going to be a bit longer than a minute, because a lot. Christian touched on it before when he was talking, when you guys did the video, and it has just been that real sense of clarity. And as a business owner, or even as a senior leader, and I'm sure lots of people can resonate with it, when you've got a lot of big decisions and you're responsible for the outcome of those decisions, your judgment can be waived or varied, because you're thinking about other people's feelings and emotions and everything else that comes with it. So you probably don't make the decision that your natural or best self would. And I found myself doing that, and I found myself being fairly hesitant in some sort of decisions, because it was like, this is my livelihood, this is my life savings, this is my dream. I was like, what if it fails? What if this? And so I started, sort of being very sort of conservative, and and that sometimes is good, but I'm generally not a very conservative person. So, and as I said before, I was looking for something like this, and I believe, and the old proverb is, those that seek shall find. And I was on a mission to try and find someone or some people to help in this space. And I met Christian, met yourself, and like I said before, the vibe was just right. And so since joining, that has been the biggest thing. All the ideas and all the pictures that are swirling around in my head, that I then start to second guess because of all the reasons I listed before. You guys really just help cement that and unpack it and talk through it and give the advice. And it really does feel that you guys are there to help me make these decisions. And it's good to hear Christians say, it is us making them, you're just there. And because that does help us, and I suppose, and definitely helps me grow the confidence in making decisions. But without having you guys there, those decisions probably wouldn't be made to the best of the ability. So that's the best part of it for me.
Yeah, I love that. And what I really enjoy about working with you, Shane, is you're a real action taker. Once you've got the information and once you've got that clarity, you're like, okay, I know exactly where I want to go, and I'm going to go and do it. And you make it happen, which is what I find really inspiring about you. You're motivated and you're clear on where you want to go with your business. And it's just those little tweaks of those strategy and the ideas to get it in the right order in your head, and that it all starts to flow, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we hopefully will be having warmer weather soon. We're getting into racing season. Weddings are abundant. Formal occasions and bigger events are starting to happen. What if someone is looking for a suit? How can they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
So I'm on all socials, and you can search my name, which is Shane Staker, if that's easier for you to search, or also the name of my studio, which is Staker Sartorial, which is spelled Sartorial. All of them are linked to to all the platforms, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc., etc. Or you can visit my website by Googling it, or just going to stakersartorial.com. All my contact details are on there. They're on all my socials as well. Give me a call, give me a message, book an appointment via the website to come in and see me. And you can see my calendar there live. You can book a time that suits you, and we can catch up to discuss what it is you're looking for.
That's awesome. So fantastic. And you are based in Adelaide there in South Australia. So all of your local people, get in and come and have a chat to Shane about all of your menswear needs, which is pretty exciting. Shane, thank you so much for joining me today. Like I've said before, it's absolutely a pleasure to be working with you on a weekly and a monthly basis. And I'm so excited for what's to come. I've heard your bigger vision, and I can't wait for it to all come to fruition. So enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for being a part of Evolve. You really, truly bring so much to the table with what you offer, with all of your experience, and you're so generous with your time as well to our other Evolve community members. So thank you for being a part of this with us. And I look forward to seeing you live again in December. We are having our next live event, but we'll catch you online each month as well.
Fantastic. No, thank you so much. As I've said, I'm extremely grateful for all the help and support. And looking forward to the next online session this month. But it will be great to catch up in Sydney again with everyone. So
awesome. Have an awesome
travel.
day, Shane. Thanks for yes, I know. Crossing planes and interstate.
I know.
Life is coming back, isn't it?
It is, and it's great. Thank you so much, Simone.
You're welcome, Shane. Have an awesome day, and thank you to everyone who has viewed and will watch this back on replay. We look forward to being back with you live next Thursday. See you later.
See ya. Bye.